Did y'all see that whole Randy Pitchford thing where he responded to somebody who said, this game should not be, better not be $80? Did y'all see the response that he gave? He gave a two-part response. Like he says A, like he broke it down to A and B. Like it was wild. I saw it and I was like, woo. Right? He says, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. Then he said, my local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Now, as much as I want to jump in and, roast bro, it's not worth it. Do you know why? I could just ask some important questions. Those of you who read that particular thing, I don't know if you all play, Borderlands or whatnot, but does that look like something that comes from somebody who respects their consumers? Or is that something that comes from somebody who thinks that they're entitled to the so-called fans' funds? To me, the latter is probably much more of the reality here. There's a book written by Michael Porter. I think, for sometimes, dear gamers, we're good at this. We can put the controller down for a few minutes and then read like a book. There's a book written by Michael Porter. It's an economics textbook. It's called On Competition. You don't even need to read too much of this book. You just got to read like the first 4 pages. In the first 4 pages of this book, he puts out a chart and talks about the 5 forces in a competitive industry. One of them is the bargaining power of the consumer. Why? Because you have access to all kinds of different, products that can serve your purposes to the point where you can actually pick and choose what it is that you want to spend your money on. Do you feel me? There's stuff for you to buy if you truly want to go ahead and buy it. You don't have to worry about this one product because of fandom. This is why, like I say, brand loyalty is something that needs to die 1,000 deaths. Especially, I think it comes naturally. As you grow up, you don't have, time for anybody anyways. But what's funny is the way he said it, man. Not my call. Like, dude. And then you go ahead and point, or at least insinuate that these fans are just whiny and they can make it happen. Or, when you worked in your ice cream shop. Wow. Like when you were in that ice cream shop back then and today, it's the same thing. But how would you know? Gamers made you rich throughout recessions and almost depressions and economic downturns. And they were playing your game because they used it as escapism. So you got rich. Now you don't remember what it's like anymore to be at that ice cream store. You're a big shot now. Those of you that are gamers, you need to spend your money where you're respected and valued, man. I'm just being honest. Like I say, do what you want with your money, but it's not too much to ask that, somebody at least address your concerns respectfully. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that they need to meet your demands. I'm not saying that. But at least, man, if you're going to talk to you, no need to be patronizing. Good night. Good night. If you're an indie developer watching all of this happen, you need to be fired up. You need to be excited. Why? Because there's opportunity. These folk, the old guard, and I called you old. Yes, I did, Randy. You called yourself old. Shoot. Sorry, I take that back. You called you old. You just literally said in 1991, right? Just out of high school. Yep. You dated yourself there. Gosh, 1991, I was like, I don't even know, bro. I was very little in 91. So I'm telling you, man, if you are of the mind of a developer that wants to basically take this industry by storm, just focus on the customer. These guys have made money, bro. They couldn't be bothered. They couldn't be bothered about your little pedantic $80 game. They have no frame of reference. They can't feel any empathy for you because they were paying for $80 games. But in an economy right now that has basically gone to the tank, they think it shouldn't be a problem for you, not realizing that the gaming industry has switched up over their head. He's going to bring out a Borderlands game 3 or 4, whatever it is, and think he's going to basically meet the same buyers of Borderlands 3. He's presuming that there's not a saturation in the market that can provide you many a game that you won't remember that Borderlands is there. He presumes you don't have the money, or you're just whining, or he thinks you can't afford it, or I don't know. This is now the theme and the agenda of some of these execs when they've eaten good. Remember, Patrick Soderlund was the last one who I remember that tried this thing. So once again, I ask you, where would you rather be spending your resources? I played Borderlands 3. I thought it was a decent game. No lie. Right? I made some videos, I made some content for it. It was fun. Ended up putting it down because of the Division. Division already offered for me a looter shooter that I liked. Borderlands is a nice looter shooter, but man, you are not offering gold to anybody to actually make this kind of a statement as a representative of your company. And you know who I feel for the most? The developers. Wasn't this the guy that didn't give his devs the bonuses and something like that at one time? If I'm not right, you know what? Let me not throw any allegations out there because that sounds a little petty. Let me just leave that one out of this conversation and just focus on what was said here. Anybody that gets, patronized like this, like a child. One thing I can't stand. I teach kids, right? Middle schoolers. And I do not treat them like this. In fact, if anything, I try to teach them to reason in a way that I expect them to eventually grow into. And it's hard not to treat them like kids because sometimes they want to act like kids and stuff. And I have to warn them and say, hey, you're doing that thing again that, I need you to start, because adulthood needs preparation and crap, right? If you fall into adulthood, you're just going to be like, what in the world is going on here? And you just see people talking to gamers like they're children. Do what you want, man. Go ahead and buy the game from the guy if you want to. I mean, the guy that responded to the comment said, he's not buying it. A lot of people are like, really? A lot of people have said they're not going to buy it on Twitter, but that's Twitter. There are people who don't see this stuff anyways, so he's probably counting and banking on them. I hope his bet pays off. Peace out.